Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm and special welcome to all of you. Welcome to session one of Smart Start, a weekly information series brought to you by the Division of Student Services and Development, which you will soon come to know as the DSSD. I am Jarell Alder, Manager of Student Engagement, and I am joined today by members of my team at the Student Engagement Unit within the DSSD, as well as the wider team at our campus's admissions office, and together we'll guide you through what I trust will be a most insightful and enjoyable session today. Now, students, we are truly honored that you have chosen us at the UWI St. Augustine campus for your university experience. And through our first year experience program, which we commonly refer to as FYE, we are indeed committed to ensuring that you transition successfully to your first year of study with us. For those of you that joined us online at the FYE launch on Monday of this week, you will know that there are quite a number of orientation events, initiatives, and activities that you can look forward to over the next few weeks in preparation for the start of your very first year on campus with us. And of course, these FYE initiatives are for the benefit of all incoming students like yourself, so we invite you to participate. Today, we are continuing your orientation experience with what we call Smart Start. And in this virtual series, our focus is meeting your informational needs as we will engage you in discussions and introduce you to new topics and, of course, share some pertinent information with you that will ensure your readiness for the start of the new semester. So we invite you to join us virtually right here today and every Thursday for the month of July from 1 p.m. for Smart Start. Trust me, you won't want to miss out. For our first session today, students, we will explore the topic, getting started with your university experience. We will begin with an important conversation on navigating the transition to university life, after which we'll assign you to breakout rooms where members of our admissions team will guide you through the immediate next steps that you should take now that you've received your offer letter from the UWI. You are encouraged to be attentive, and I want to say that again. You are encouraged to be attentive in these sessions, take notes as we go along, ask questions at the appropriate time, and to also just breathe and trust that by participating in FYE, you are definitely on the right path of attaining success in your first year with us at the UWI St. Augustine campus. So to ensure that you have the absolute best experience today, we ask that you keep your microphones muted until the designated Q&A segment, and feel free to turn your cameras on. We'd love to see your faces, all right? Now that I've shared some information with you on what you can expect today, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce and invite our guest speaker for today. She's one of my favorites. She's the head of our campus's Counselling and Psychological Services team here at the UWI St. Augustine, and she's a true advocate for student well-being. Students, please help me welcome with a virtual applause, Dr. Sarah Chilyamki. Over to you, Dr. Chilyamki.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Mr. Alder. Hello, I would love to think about how we transition to university because it's a big step, but it's also very exciting. So I'm just going to put some slides on here. There we go. There we go. All right. So first of all, a really warm welcome to all of you. We're super happy that you actually chose UWI, and we're really committed to helping you throughout your time with us. So as we heard, apart from your faculty supports, you have a Division of Student Services that really offer a range of supports that are here to assist you throughout your time with us, from career advice to financial support to counseling services as well, right? So first of all, what are your expectations, right? What are you looking forward to most? What are some things that might inspire a little anxiety for you as you're kind of embarking on university? Maybe you're thinking of all the fantastic work and study groups that you'll be doing, curing cancer in the lab. I'm not sure what your programs are, right? Or you might actually be thinking about the social aspect, which is really important, right? At university, very often you make friendships that may well last a lifetime. You may be very good at networking, getting to know people maybe in your future profession, right? So it's a wonderful way of meeting all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds that you share passions and interests with, right? So that's super important too. So I really want to kind of invite you to think, what is the big picture, right? What is your end goal? For some of you, your degree program is a really important gateway to a job or career that you want in the future. And for a lot of you, you might actually still be weighing up your options, and that's totally okay too, right? So first of all, I do want you to think about expanding your horizons while you're here, all right? In other words, while you're doing your work, I want you to think about you're going to meet all these people from all kinds of different backgrounds with all kinds of crazy, weird, wonderful ways of looking at things that perhaps is not your usual, right? So I don't want you to stick in your classroom. I want you to make friends from other faculties doing other programs, people from other countries as well, right? You have a huge melting pot at university level that might be a lot broader and a lot wider than what you might be used to in school and in your neighborhood and so on, right? So it's a really wonderful opportunity to just branch out. So first tip is to be really open to new people, right? And the university is more than what you learn in the classroom, right? And so those relationships that you learn, all the life skills that you learn navigating and getting through all kinds of difficulties, that's really important. So second thing, do not only come to campus for class and then rush home afterwards, right? We want you to stay and linger on campus. We want you to attend events. We want you to get involved. You could join a club. You could learn public speaking skills, all kinds of things. There is more opportunity here than is just in your curriculum, right? So university helps you to stretch yourself and develop that future professional you, whether you're an entrepreneur or just your all-around awesome adulting skills, right? So for some of you, you might actually run for guild positions and other positions of student leadership. You might be president of a club, right? So how you stretch yourself is really largely up to you, and just to remember that they say that the magic begins when you step outside of your comfort zone, right? So when we think about a little challenge, I really want you to think about how you can stretch the boundaries of what you're used to and what you're comfortable with, okay? So the key thing there is don't stay in your room doom scrolling, okay? I know sometimes things can be a little overwhelming. For those of us that are a little further on the introverted side, it could feel like a lot. And you definitely do need to take your breaks, don't get me wrong, but don't stick up in your room, okay? You can, however, use your device to check out what your student guild has to offer, what clubs and associations might pique your interest, right? You need to check all the opportunities and supports that are really available to you now that you are a UE student on campus. So there are all kinds of things. There's a health services unit for free services. You have free and confidential counseling available to you while you're here. From an academic point of view, there's a writing center, there are peer tutors. Your department, of course, will assign academic advisors, but there are all kinds of supports that might help you on your academic journey, because trust me, there'll be some course or so that proves a little difficult. And whether you've never failed anything in your life before, remember that not passing a course at university is not the end of the world. Plenty of people don't pass a course. You resit it, you consolidate your learning, and you keep it moving, right? So remember that outside of your degree, you have a whole co-curricular program at the St. Augustine campus. So you can actually do something for fun. You can earn credits while you learn first aid. You can actually do a semester abroad. You could become a peer counselor if you're interested in supporting others while you're here. All kinds of things. So you want to check that out. And even if you don't do it in your first semester, because you really want to just get going on your degree program, see if you could actually schedule a co-curricular course before you graduate, right? So let's consider how life typically unfolds, right? While we're busy making plans, feeling real organized, some shiftiness is going to happen and it'll unravel when you least expect it, right? So as a psychologist, what I would say is one of the most important tricks to surviving this life is resilience. And that's about being flexible and ready to consider all your options as your situation changes. Because one thing we know for sure is that nothing stays the same. So trust me, the minute you think you have it all under wraps, something's going to go horribly sideways, right? Think about the COVID pandemic, right? That hit us all really hard. Some of us obviously suffered a bit more than others. But it's important to remember that in your lifetime, actually, you found ways to cope and adapt because you're here, right? You've been really successful through a really difficult time. Now, resilience relies a lot on your perspective, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about other people in the world, okay? So we're going to do a little something, something. Now, how many of you see the rabbit? If you do, you just put a 1 in the chat. And I'm going to ask how many of you see something else? If you see something else, you could put a 2 in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 2s. Any 1s at all? Oh, okay, a couple of 1s. Okay, awesome. Now, this may sound like just a fun little perspective psychology game, right? But what if I actually told you that for the women who saw the duck first, you're statistically highly likely to get a higher GPA at graduation than those of you who saw the rabbit. And for the males among you, for those of you who saw the rabbit, you're actually expected to have a higher income by your mid-30s, but you're also expected to more likely suffer erectile dysfunction as you get older. So I figure like it's not just a game, right? These things become really important, okay? Just for the record, I mean, yes, I'm a professional clinical psychologist, but I totally made that up, right? So don't worry if you saw the rabbit, okay? No panic here. But the bottom line that I really want to stress is that actually the way you see things shapes the way you approach challenges, right? It determines how much risk you're willing to take. So think about little things, right? How willing are you? How confident are you speaking up in a classroom, especially when the lecture is like kind of intimidating or it's a class of 300 plus? You don't understand anything, but you don't want to look stupid, so you don't say anything, right? And that affects how much you learn, right? Moving forward, are you confident to apply for that job? Are you selling yourself an interview? You know, you're coming across confidently, or you're almost apologizing for being there, right? When money gets tight, which it will, right? Do you feel confident applying for a bursary or scholarship? Or do you like second guess yourself a lot and think, well, my GPA is probably not good enough, right? So all of these little things really add up to important stuff. And this is largely based on how you see yourself, how confident you feel, and what you expect to get from the people around you, right? Even when we think about relationships, like on a more romantic level, right? For those of you who feel like your partner completes you, breakups might be even more devastating, right? For those among us who hate being alone, actually that leaves you a lot more vulnerable to getting stuck in relationships that aren't so healthy, right? Or maybe tolerating some not so great relationship dynamics because I'd rather be here than be by myself, okay? So perspective really matters a lot in life, and very often we don't even think about what our attitudes or opinions are, huh? We just kind of take it for granted and do what we do. So shifting to university now, you've left school, you're heading to tertiary education. It really requires a change in perspective. Now, typically, right, you may be used to being the top of your class at school, but at university, chances are everyone in your class was also top of their class. And so it requires us to kind of shift how we understand what it means to be a good student. So at university, how you learn and what you understand, right, becomes more important than the grades you get. And even if you get this, actually, parents or the people helping pay for you being here, they might not necessarily get it. And you may find that you're under a lot of pressure. A lot of students I work with are really viciously comparing themselves to everybody else. And sometimes that's not always a fair game, right? So the other thing about shifting to university is that the degree that you chose might not necessarily be what you hoped it would be or what you expected. And for some of you, you may actually decide to pivot and change to a whole other degree program while you're here. Remember that as your GPA, the better it is, it gives you a wider option to switch to another program or switch even to another faculty. So bear in mind that how you start is not necessarily how you finish, right? And that's so much about life. There are a lot of different ways of getting to your end goal. And quite frankly, your goal at 17, 18 may be different to when you're 19 and 20, okay? So don't get too stuck in what you're thinking, right? Even if the degree is something that you feel passionate about, some of those courses may be really hard, might be really deadly boring. And so finding ways of motivating yourself to keep the work going is actually very important, right? Whether it is you picture that end goal that you want, whether you look to see, are these credits mandatory? Can I do a different course instead? All of those things require a bit of problem solving, right? At university, this is another critical thing. Nobody's going to check on you if you don't show up. right? You don't turn in the last 3 assignments, no one's necessarily going to call you and find out what's happening, okay? Especially if you're in a really large program. So your ability to manage your time and take a lot more responsibility for getting your work done will really be tested. Some of us are really good with structure. University may not provide you with the same structure that you're used to, so you might find yourself needing to switch it up a little bit, right? So consider how you tend to view yourself in life. Maybe you're a natural optimist, maybe you trust nobody, right? You might have a tendency just to kind of shut down a little bit when things get really difficult. So these are the kinds of things you want to just be mindful of. So let's think about some tips on managing the harder parts. First tip, right, is actually checking in with yourself. Like, how are you doing? What are you enjoying? What are you dreading? What are you struggling with, right? The thing with well-being and mental health, which is you need in order to function to the best of your ability, you can't know what you need if you're not paying attention, right? And very often, certainly in our culture here, we don't really talk about feelings, and we're studying everything on social media, and we're not even studying what's happening, on the inside, right? And if we ignore it too long, sometimes that kind of catches up. Okay, so first things first is just kind of check in with yourself, because I'm telling you, right, it's all super fantastic until it isn't. And when it starts to feel a little overwhelming at some point, it's really key that you have some coping strategies up your sleeve. Okay. So first of all, practicing healthy avoidance is important. It's not about running away, and it's not because you can't handle it. Sometimes you actually need to give yourself a calculated break. So if you need that 4-hour nap, like, that's fine, right? If you need to take a mental health day, that's okay too, right? You might need to head home if you can and get a home cooked meal, right? Because ramen doesn't sustain anybody for too long. And you might just need to reach out to a friend, meditate, do whatever it is you tend to do. Now, from a nerdy point of view, you have these happy juices that your brains produce naturally, right? How do you actually promote them if you find your mood is a bit slipping? First of all, you got to get moving. Now, UE has a gym. I think students pay only $100 a semester, which is a total steal. So you could check it out and see. If gym is not for you, maybe you just need to pull on your sneakers, run around campus. You could become part of the spirit team, right, under DSSD. Anything that gets you going and gets you out there can be important to help boost your mood. The second thing that's important for those naturally occurring happy juices is actually how you eat. So eating well and eating regularly is actually really important, surprisingly important, for your brain to actually produce all your good hormones, right? Your good neurotransmitters. So a secret tip here for free is that KFC is not the healthiest meal out there. So, try not to overdo it a little bit, right? Okay, one other tip I want to share is about mindfulness. Probably heard about this. If you haven't, no worries. Super simple. 3 things. It's about paying active attention as opposed to daydreaming to what's happening in your mind and your body around you in this present moment, not thinking about what's happened before, not what you're looking forward to, what's happening right now. And 3, you're doing that with a very non-judgmental approach. In other words, you're paying attention to your current experience with a quiet understanding. Your experience is neither good nor bad. It is what it is. You could be waiting in the KFC line and noting how hungry you are, noticing the smell of that nice stale oil, and getting really irritated with the woman in front of you who all of a sudden not sure what she wants to order, and you've been there for 10 minutes, like, why is she now deciding? So you don't need to be a bad person for being irritated. That's just what you're feeling in that moment, okay? You could eat mindfully. So going back to that KFC snack box, when you open it up, what looks the most delicious, right? What are you most drawn to? Your first bite, what's the temperature like? What's the texture like? How deliciously salty is it, right? Stop imagining your cholesterol going up. Just think about that moment there and that experience of taking your first bite, right? And this is instead of like just namming down your food in 2 minutes while you're scrolling on your phone and paid no attention. Another tip, and this is really the last tip, is actually about your focus as well. So let's draw on a little psychology here, okay? When we are stressed or anxious, right, we tend to do one of 2 things. We can think about all the things that are about to destroy the world as we know it, of which we have no control over, And sadly, in life, there are a lot of things that you won't have a lot of control over as much as you wish. The other thing we do sometimes is we super focus on all the things that we can control, but sadly, they're not really adding to the outcome. So, I mean, as a student, I did plenty exams in my life. I remember in exam time, all my cans and packages in the kitchen would be facing the right way, right? That didn't help me with my exams, I assure you, but it was what I did to try and relax myself because it was something I could do, right? But overall, one of the things that's more helpful and certainly helps with more successful outcomes is focusing as much of your energies as you can on the things that do make a difference, but that and are also under your control. Okay, so for some of us, when we're anxious or stressed and overwhelmed, our minds just go all over the place. But remember, you are actually in control of your brain. It's not the other way around. But if that's feeling difficult, you could book a session with a counselor, right? You could think about how we could help you with that. Okay, so focusing on things that matter and things that you can actually do something about is really important. Okay. Now, the good news is that your brain is pretty plastic, flexible, right? Elastic, well, from a neurological point anyway. So whether you are a top student or a professional procrastinator or a diehard optimist, the bottom line is that the more you practice habits is actually the more you can establish those habits into the future. So whatever you're coming with now, whatever baggage, you have super opportunity to start tweaking things that suit you better. So imagine a tropical rainforest, right? And it's just bush everywhere. Everywhere is bush. Now, if some brave person comes and starts hacking away at something, the next person comes, maybe it's not obvious, but you are seeing a little pathway. Then a hiking group comes and they trample along. Maybe they start cutting a little bit as well, and I keep trimming. Over time, where there was just absolute bush becomes an established pathway. And it's the same way neurologically with your brain. So the more you practice something, even when it feels hard, when it takes a lot of effort, because it's not your default, not your normal, over time, as you repeat it, it actually becomes your new default. So if you tend to be very problem saturated and get really stressed easily, you could start practicing some skills. And at university, actually, you can broaden your coping strategies and cope with stress better and better, right? So to kind of pull things together, I do want to highlight some of the supports that are available to you, especially when things might get a little tricky, right? Suffering alone is obviously an option, but we don't necessarily recommend it. You have lots of options available to you. So you do have a counseling service, which is free and confidential, wonderful support from a team of lovely people. We are open all year, not just during semesters, from Monday to Friday. We offer online services, we offer face-to-face services. You tell us what works better for you. And if counseling isn't your thing, we also have some programs here to help relax. So Mindful Monday happens every Monday from 5:30 to 6:30. Everybody's welcome. You could just walk in. It basically teaches some really simple meditation and relaxation strategies. Even if you've never meditated before, it's like for beginners, it's for everybody. If you are an experienced meditator, maybe it's just nice to do it in a small group because that's a nice vibe, right? So this is really an hour of relaxation just to help you start your week off right. Other student groups include Safe Space. Now, Safe Space is open to everyone, whether you are a member or an ally of the LGBTQ plus population, part of the community, right? And basically, these student groups meet once a week throughout the semester, and they talk about any and everything, right? If you're interested, people could just email, come to the open session beginning the semester, take part, and take it from there. We have other events, like there'll be workshops going on. October's Mental Health Month. You could check out what's happening. But Unwind Your Mind is a big event that happens in March every year. Really, we just relax under the trees. Sometimes we offer yoga. Sometimes we make calming jars. We do a lot of creative art. There are puppies. There are cats, all kinds of things. So you could check that out, right? So basically, you have a counseling service, you have peer counselors on campus as well. So let's say you rather talk to another student, it's someone who you think you can resonate with a bit more. You can email them, check them out on Instagram as well, right? The health services there have a number on WhatsApp for any emergencies or questions, and you could just pop in and check them out when you're physically here. And for like you absolutely need to check out the UE Guild pages as soon as you can. See what clubs and associations are there. Remember that if you have any challenges as well, while the Division of Student Services are available to you, your guild is also there to support you, to guide you, give you some advice, and advocate on your behalf if you're having any difficulties. Okay? So last thing, that's the email for the counseling service. If there's anything here that you forgot or you want to check out, you could always email us. And if that's not something we offer, we'll put you in touch with who can. And we are actually physically located opposite the health services unit on campus. So you could look for the glass front doors, walk in at any time, because absolutely, we're here to kind of help navigate with you. Okay? So take good care of yourself as much as you can. Get out there, have a great experience, and good luck.
Dr. Chinyanki, thank you so very much. And if I could ask Dr. Chinyanki to just join me and screen very quickly before she leaves us. Um, Thank you very, very much for sharing such nuggets of wisdom with our students. If our chat is open, students, feel free to send some love in the chat. And this definitely will not be the last time that you will see or hear from Dr. Chinyanki. As mentioned earlier on in the program, she is the head of our Counselling and Psychological Services team on campus. So you will definitely have an opportunity, several opportunities to engage with her and the team, visiting the website, etc. So Dr. Chinyanki, before you go, I want to just ask if you want to share very quickly how persons can get in contact with CAPS and some of the things that they might be able to look forward to in the new semester.
Sure, happy to. So basically, as I said, we are in a little building there opposite the health services. So whenever you get on campus, check for the health services, turn around 180 degrees, you're facing us. You could walk in at any time, right? And basically ask a question. You can actually book an appointment for yourself one time. I do think I would say a lot of times people are wary and go, well, I don't have any big problems. It's almost like they don't need counseling per se. Nobody needs counseling. But if you could benefit from it, why not? And so when you book an appointment, basically it's 50 minutes out of your week to talk with someone one-to-one privately with whatever is going on for you. You don't need to have a Netflix drama happening. It could simply be that you're just feeling a little lost. And so it's an opportunity to think, you know, what's happening for you, what might be helpful. And if we can put you in touch with any supports, absolutely we can. Sometimes students come because it's actually the first time that they have access to therapy. I know our school system isn't always equipped. And so it doesn't have to be a university thing. Could just be a life thing, right? So what I would say is the counseling service, there are only two things we don't do. We don't do academic advising because we have nothing to do with your academic department. We can liaise and advocate for you if you're having some issues with academics related to your well-being, right? But we don't do academic advising. And the only other thing we don't do is we don't lend money because actually we don't have any of our own. But what we would do is actually point you in the direction of the financial advisory service, right? So that's the only two things we don't do. Anything else related to your life, you could come, we could talk about it, and right. So you could also email us. That email I put up at the last slide, and you could call us. So we are on the website as well. You can even click a button to book an appointment for yourself. Like the universe has made it really easy for you to talk to a counselor. So try and do it while you're here. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Dr. Chinyanki. And I'm seeing some love coming through in the chat for you. So we want to say thanks again for sharing this time with us. And the students, you've gotten the information from Dr. Chinyanki. So as soon as you are able to, be sure to connect with the team at CAPS. The time is now to engage online, read up, see what information is available, see what opportunities there are. And engage and benefit, from everything that we have to offer. So thank you again, Dr. Chinyanki. And at this time, well, before I invite our team from admissions, I want to acknowledge that We do know that some students were not able to join today's session. So for those of you who might have friends coming in and probably messaging you on the side saying, hey, I can't join the session today, we are aware that we've gotten to capacity, but I'm here to assure you that today's session is being recorded and will be made available within the next few days. So for persons who were not able to join today, they will still be able to benefit from the information that's being provided. And of course, moving forward, we will ensure that we correct what we have to on our path so that more persons can participate. All right, so worry not. All right, so we are now preparing for the second half of our program. Of course, we just heard from Dr. Chinonki, really putting things into perspective on navigating this big transition that is to university life. And I want to invite the members of the admissions team, if we can just have them on screen, some lovely faces, some lovely persons that you'll be engaging with at this time. And there you're seeing, there we are. So members of the admissions team.
Right. So good day, everyone. I want to congratulate you on this new chapter for first year experience, the 25-26 academic year. A warm and hearty congratulations to you guys. So please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mrs. Kathyann Lewis. I'm here from the admissions department to do a brief presentation of what to do next. So this is our building where we are stationed. This is Lloyd Bradley Student Administration Building, where you can find our office. So you have been accepted. You would have received an email notification indicating a decision has been made on your application. Access to your offer letter via your MySTA account using credentials which you would have created upon submission of your online application. So at this time, all of you all would have accessed your account through the MySTA page, which will look like this, and would have accepted your offer. The following documents will be available for you to view and download, which is your offer letter, which indicates your acceptance or denial of your offer via the online application portal, and the acceptance letter, which is available only after the acceptance of the offer. So we want to encourage you to download a copy of your acceptance letter for your records, as this is a requirement for when you are applying for GATE funding. While you wait for orientation, academic advising, registration in August, please read and review and visit the other links available in the acceptance letter. So we have some of the links displayed here. First, we have the medical form. So you'll be required to complete and submit the medical form to either doctor@sta.ue.edu or nurse@sta.ue.edu. We also want to encourage you to visit our FYE link, which is stated there. Now we are all here involved in our FYE first year experience program. So we have an idea of what you should expect on their website. The GATE information, which is important for all new and incoming students to find out more information on GATE funding and look out for session 2 with hopefully we have some GATE representatives or persons from the GATE office. The travel information for regional students so that they can apply for their passage. This is an important link as well so that they can access that form to apply for funding or refund of their passage. So we just give you a brief outline of what is an admit decision, because all of you all here may be or have been admitted into our program. So you would have met all the matriculation requirements and have for an offer. So your decision history in your status and MySTA page would have displayed offered. We have admit deferred, which is persons who would have met the matriculation requirements for a firm offer. However, the entries are approved for the succeeding academic year. Your decision history again will still display offered. And then we have unsuccessful for persons or for applicants who have failed to meet the matriculation requirements, and well, their decision will have reflected unsuccessful. So at this time, if you have any questions, queries, or concerns regarding your admissions process or registration process commencing in August, we want to invite you to take a picture or screenshot of our 2 email addresses here for our admissions office at sta.uwe.edu or ugapply@sta.uwe.edu to send us any queries, any concerns, any advice you may need, and we'll be certainly able to assist you.
Yes, so welcome back, everyone. I know that those presentations or those breakout sessions are quite insightful. So I want to say thank you to the entire team. And if we can maybe just pin all our presenters on today, including the SCU team, our moderators. There we go. So we're seeing the team that would have supported today, and students, we want to say thank you to our presenters and facilitators, or moderators rather. So feel free to show some love as always in the group chat. We welcome that. FYE will not be complete without some cool giveaways. So I want to hand over to Ms. Sukleo and Mr. Patti from the student engagement team, who will take you through this fun segment before we close today's session. So over to you, Megan and Joseph.
Hi, incoming Pelicans. So, exciting parts, the giveaway segment. So let's kick it off right away. Just a few rules before we get into it. So I'm going to ask the question, then you're going to raise your hand, and then I'll call on you to answer. Yes? So the first question goes as this. If you all can tell me, what does CAPS stand for?
Hi, ma'am. Can you please repeat?
What does CAPS stand for?
So recognizing the hand of Mahalia, who went
Yes.
first. So Mahalia, you can go ahead and unmute your mic and answer.
I believe commonly it stands for capital letters. Or do you mean like within UE specifically?
Yes, within you specifically.
Oh, okay.
So you are not wrong in general. It does stand for capital letters, but in terms of you, so Dr. Chin Young Kee would have said it earlier. And I think the second hand to go up, if I'm not mistaken, was Gabriella. Yes.
Yes.
So,
Hi, yes. Is it the counseling and psychological services?
Excellent. Yes, Gabriella. So if you can just direct message me your name and your contact information, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
right. So you all might be wondering what exactly you're winning. I know that's always a motivating factor in a giveaway or a prize. So we have our lovely sponsors over at Call Cafe who are always supporting us and supporting students. So they have a lovely swag bag that they're giving away. Inside that bag you'll find little goodies and things that you need to keep you up and going, energized for your university life. So we have one more question, trivia question. It's also based on Dr. Chin Young Kee's presentation earlier. And she gave some really good tips, some really core tips early on in the session. I want someone to tell me what the first tip was that she gave. And she made it very clear by saying tip 1. So you'll, if anybody could remember and tell me. Oh, Mariah, your hand went up real quick, so you go ahead.
Was it to be mindful?
You're correct, but she said something before that. So before she went into mindfulness, she said something else. I believe the second hand that went up was Liana.
Hi, was it to check in with yourself?
Yes, you are correct there too. All good advice that you're given, but the first tip she said tip 1. And I know as students now coming in, you're very keen on writing down when somebody tends to say step 1 or tip 1 or something like that. So let me see who else. I am going to go with Geneva.
Good day. Was it to socialize?
Very correct. She said be really open to new people and form relationships. So definitely, and I can't understate how important that really is. So congratulations, Geneva. You've won yourself a swag bag from Coal Cafe. I want you to private message me your contact information, your name, number, and email, and we'll reach out to you to get that to you. Thank you guys for participating.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Joseph and Megan. And of course, congratulations to our winners. So we are winding down. I want to say a sincere thanks to all of our presenters today, Dr. Chin Young Kee, to the members of our admissions team and, of course, the student engagement team at the Division of Student Services and Development. We want to say thanks to everyone. And, of course, you, our students, for participating. We cannot say enough how valuable our campus's first year experience is for your success in your first year and beyond at the UWI. So remember, this is not the last session. This is one of 4. We know that perhaps some of your peers may have reached out to you indicating that they were not able to join today's session. We will have the recording available within the next few days for them to view. And definitely next week, we will ensure that we can accommodate more persons. So ensure that you share this information with other persons who are coming in, starting their first year with you. Let them know that Smart Start and the First Year Experience Program in general is here to support their successful transition. So I think our poll is done. We want to say thank you for participating. And students, we have come to the end of our program today. And again, our first session for Smart Start. We trust that the information shared with you was useful and that the experience has helped you with your confidence as you prepare to start your new semester in just a few weeks. Remember, this is session 1 of 4. So we look forward to seeing you next week right here at 1 p.m. So next week, Thursday, we will see you at 1 p.m. for a second session, which will focus on fees, finance, and funding. So you want to ensure that you do not miss that. We'll be exploring all of the fees, the fee structure on campus, the funding opportunities available. And those of you who are eligible for GATE, you will want to benefit from the information. We are expected to have some officials on the GATE office here with us next week as well. So next Thursday at 1 p.m., we expect to see you for session 2. We encourage you, of course, to visit our FYE website. I know that that information will be placed in the chat for you as well. So check out our calendar of events for all of the upcoming FYE activities. And of course, stay connected with us on our social media platforms, including Instagram and our FYE YouTube channel. A record of today's session will be made available in just 3 days. So thank you, everyone, for spending this time with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week at Smart Start. Take care, everyone.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like,
Comment,
share, and subscribe.